So in this question we have a good example of basically a word problem, but for trigonometry. And so we're told that there's a surveyor measuring the height of a cliff, and she's 60 meters away from the cliff, and she flies the drone at the top to measure the height, and the angle of elevation here is going to be 53 degrees, and we're asked to find the height of the cliff. And so to do this, I'm just going to draw a little stick figure for our surveyor. And so we know that there's a cliff somewhere over here, so we can just sort of draw a big wedge, and we're told that basically from where she's standing at the top of the cliff, and we sort of always assume that we don't have to take into account here this person's height, whether it's a whatever height they are is not going to factor into the problem. So we assume they're looking from the ground level, and this angle of elevation is going to be 53 degrees. And we're also told that her distance away from the cliff, so kind of the horizontal distance, is going to be 60 meters. And so if we're trying to find the length h, which is going to be the height of the cliff, we just basically need to figure out which of our kind of trig functions we're going to use here. And because we have this triangle and we don't know the hypotenuse, so we don't know this kind of length of her to the top of the cliff, but we know the horizontal distance and we know the vertical distance is going to be called h, what we can say is that tan 53 is equal to the opposite over the adjacent, because that's the ratio we use for tan. And so the opposite is going to be h, and we know the adjacent, which is given in the question, is just going to be 60. And so we know that tan 53 is equal to h over 60. And of course this comes from SOHCAHTOA, which is sort of a shorthand way of remembering our trig kind of ratios we use for sine, cos and tan. So I'm just going to write that here. In this case we're using tan because we have the opposite and we have the adjacent. Quite often you're going to be using sine and cos because you're going to be given the hypotenuse, or you're going to be trying to find the hypotenuse. But in this case we're fine to use tan. And so what I'm going to do straight away is multiply across by 60. So we can say that h is equal to 60 times tan 53. And when we multiply 60 by tan 53, we're going to find that if we use our calculator, it is going to be roughly 80 meters. And we're told also to give our answer to the nearest meter. So our answer is going to be 80 meters, and that is going to be it for this question.